welcome to this week's edition of BrianSews. This week I'm going to show you the fabric finds, which we may as well just get started right with fabric finds. There's this great fabric store I found here called So Low Discount Fabrics. It's in Cambridge, and it's one of those places where you walk in and the fabric, you feel like the fabric's coming down on top of you. It's like, you know, there's areas where you feel like you wish you had a flashlight to because you can't see, that it's just, you're down in this weird dank little corner. It's not dank, but it feels like it could be dank. I mean, and you're down there and you're like, I don't know, what is this? You know, it looks like it's good, I can't tell. But besides the fabric, they've got fabric everywhere. There's actually an area where I have to stoop down to walk through. They've got some amazing zippers in the back of that area, so it's worth the stooping. Anyway, besides the fabric on the walls, they had some good prices on that type of stuff. You know, they had their regular upholstery fabric and wool. They had a huge selection of wools, which I was really pretty happy with. They also had discount tables, and you know that's what I really like, is the discount table. So I found the thing with another thing with this fabric store is you have to buy, if there's not, you have to leave at least 2 yards, or you have to buy the last 2 yards that are there, which I think is just fine, whatever. So I found this amazing Lycra, orange Lycra. I can tell it's Lycra because it's just got a really good recovery. It feels really, it's nice and thick, and it's really good stuff. I just added the spandex collection, $2.99 a yard. There was 2 yards, so I had to buy 2 yards, but you know, $6 for 2 yards of really good quality Lycra is a good price. So that's my first find. Second find is actually this. This is a nylon, I would say this is probably nylon spandex knit. And I could just see this being a really cool, like 3/4 length sleeve t-shirt, you know? Slightly fitted, not too tight, but it just has this really great tie-dye. And you know, with nylons you get that, it's, you know, super shiny and just looks really cool. I actually saw this in the bolt there, and it was $4.99 a yard, but then I found this piece on the discount table for $2.99, and there happened to be 3 yards. So I said, well, cut me a yard of that, and I'll get that for $2.99 instead of $4.99. And so that's what I did. So this is for an upcoming project for sure. The other thing, I found some really cool, it's just a cotton jersey. How awesome is that with all those stars on it? I don't know if I would make a whole shirt out of something like this, but maybe use it as the accent pieces, or you know, like I've been doing those yokes, the separated yokes on the t-shirts. This would be an awesome yoke. Or sleeves, or you could even cut out a star and use it as like kind of an applique on another shirt. So I really like this. This was great. I don't remember how much this was, but it wasn't too expensive, probably. If it's expensive, I'm probably not going to buy it, so gotta know, it's cheap. My last find, I don't even know what to call this. Still on the hanger. It was on the $2.99 table. It's really heavy. I think there's like 3 yards here. This is, you know, when you first see it, you're like, oh wow, it's like a wetsuit, but it's not. I mean, I've felt wetsuits before. This is totally not a wetsuit fabric. So you can hear, if you can hear that whistling, it's the radiators are making a lot of noise right now. They're all whistling and steam's blowing out, and before they were clanking, and it's probably, I think it's like 85 degrees in here. Yeah, it's really warm. It's like 82 in here. I'm not sure. I can't control the heat. So the heat, I have the heat turned off, but it's still certainly, I mean, I can feel it definitely radiating off the radiator. As they say here, the radiator. So anyway, so this is like, it's a knit, and it's this awesome color. I really like oranges and yellows, obviously. It's this fluorescent yellow, but the inside is like fleecy. And maybe this is what, I don't think this is what wetsuits are like. I mean, I've seen a wetsuit before and it's not like this. You know, I got 3 yards so I could at least make a jacket or something really cool. And like I said, it was $2.99 a yard, so I was like, well, God, for that price, I mean, this is good. Whatever this was, at some point, wherever it was sold, it was definitely more expensive than $2.99 for sure. I mean, just by the weight of it, it's just, this is extremely heavy, good quality stuff, whatever it is. So let's see what else. The project I'm working on right now is Verda. I'm using that, if you've been watching the episodes, that really nice wool felt I got from Windmill Fabrics in downtown Boston, in Chinatown. I'm using Verda 7616. I'm actually, you know, I find it cool that I used to always, if I bought a pattern, that's the radiator going, if I bought a pattern, I would do the easiest view. And this is a pattern where I'm actually doing the hard view, where I'm doing, you know, it's got a, I'll show you here. I'm not really close to being, oh, I'm kind of close. I've done the pockets. It's amazing that pockets and pants take all the time. I mean, the rest of it is so simple to sew together. This is, you know, I have another, the other leg is pretty much in the same spot. But I've got my inseam pocket in the side here, which is lined with, of course, a vintage sheet. This is my muslin, basically, to see if the pattern fits me before I make it with the wool. This is a, you know, dollar a yard polyester I got at Walmart, probably. It has a double welt back pocket, which this is my first double welt. I made some mistakes on it, which I totally know what mistakes I made and why it turned out the way it did, so I'll fix that in the real version. But for really, I mean, if I didn't point them out to you, you wouldn't really notice that. The next thing I've got to do is sew on the cargo pocket, and there'll be a flap that goes over that, so that'll be kind of cool. And then if you see here, the leg is split, and there's a zipper that goes down right here. So this is going to be a pretty cool pair of pants. There's a lot of details involved with this pair. It reminds me of, when I'm looking at the back pocket here, this is not how most back pockets are done in dress slacks. But with this Verda pattern, that's how the pieces were cut. So I just, you know, and I'm using white serger thread. You know, I don't really care how it looks on the inside because I don't necessarily expect to be able to wear this pair. But it made me realize, you know, it reminded me that, you know, when you're looking at your pattern instructions and the pattern pieces they give you, they're not giving you the best way to do it. They're giving you what might be the easiest to explain way. And, you know, like this in a regular pair of dress pants, this piece of fabric here wouldn't stop here at the top of the pocket. This would extend up to the waistband, covering over these darts, and it would create a lot less bulk, you know, right here. Like, this is really a bulky pocket. I didn't actually use Verda's instructions for doing the double welt pocket. I used, oh gosh, I can't remember her name. Anne Rowley, maybe, possibly. She has a Flickr album, I believe it's Flickr, where she basically has a step-by-step for doing a welt pocket, and I printed it out because it's so, I probably have it right here. It is, of course it doesn't say her name on it. That's great. No, here we go. Anne Rowley. She has this great, and I'll put a link up, but it's this great step-by-step tutorial on how to do a welt pocket, double welt pocket, and it's perfect. It's exactly right. You can print it out on, this is 4 pages, and I just, you know, I read over it and followed the directions and just did what she said, and it worked out great. There was a few things where I didn't do what she said, and that's why it didn't work out. Imagine that. Okay, besides pants, that's the project. Today, a good friend of mine, said, I have a box of buttons, and I was thinking, oh, a box, you know, cardboard box. No. She brought in this crazy old tin. It's been smashed. Who knows how this happened. Crazy old tin of buttons. And it's got some really awesome, they're all on the cards, which if you've read the button, there's like a button guide, button handbook, button field guide, and it says that you don't need to keep the cards because they don't actually increase the cost or the worth of the buttons. But it's just a whole tin full of all these great old carded buttons. How awesome is that? So I'll probably keep it just like this in the tin. This is probably how the owner kept their buttons. So, well, I can see my time is running out. I don't want to run over here. So this has been Brian's Week in Sewing. I hope you're having a good week with your sewing room, and I'll see you again next week.